Turn on any screen today, and you are immediately hit with a wall of noise. Pundits, algorithms, and corporate strategists all broadcasting their positions with absolute dogmatic certainty. To survive this environment, people rely on what we call decorative knowledge. They passively gather superficial facts and statistics for a single purpose: to validate the opinions they already hold. But imagine if all that noise suddenly stopped and the mirror we use to view the world shattered. As the pieces fall, you notice they aren't reflecting a clear image. They're projecting geometric illusions. We have to ask a difficult question. Are our deepest, most fiercely defended certainties actually grounded in objective reality, or are they just self-confirming cognitive illusions? The human brain naturally prioritizes cognitive comfort over objective truth. Because we prefer a false map that feels safe over a true map that requires effort, we remain entirely blind to our own systemic errors until something forces us to look closer. Look closely at the glowing panel in a modern elevator, specifically that door close button. In most elevators built in the United States since 1990, that button is functionally inactive, disabled to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The elevator simply operates on a pre-programmed timer, yet pedestrians press it daily, maintaining an unquestioned belief that their action caused the doors to close. It is a pure psychological placebo. You can observe this same cognitive glitch during a phantom highway traffic jam. Drivers stuck in congestion frequently switch lanes, convinced the adjacent lane is moving faster. Transportation engineers have proven this is an asymmetric perception threshold. We strongly remember the negative emotion of being passed, but instantly forget the time we spend passing others. If our brains effortlessly fabricate false causal links for a simple elevator button or a lane change, we have to consider the massive, expensive strategic models we build. They are likely resting on equally flawed, unexamined foundations. To fix these foundations, we can look to classical Athens. Socrates didn't view himself as a debater. He called himself an intellectual midwife. He developed a systematic method of cross-examination, known as the elenchus. Instead of trying to arrive at the truth by piling up new facts, the elenchus works by violently subtracting false premises. It acts as an intellectual chisel. Let's apply that chisel to a modern global e-commerce enterprise. This logistics team spent 2 years and millions of dollars optimizing their fulfillment infrastructure. Their entire capital budget was directed by a single, unquestioned assumption: customers always desire faster delivery. Leadership approved high-cost dynamic routing algorithms and expedited air freight to shave hours off transit times. Then a project manager applied Socratic cross-examination to the data. They asked why high-speed shipping was simultaneously creating a massive spike in customer complaints. The inquiry revealed that expedited shipping generated extreme arrival variance. Packages landed at unexpected times across a 48-hour window, causing package theft and missed deliveries. This chart compares those two approaches. We see a fast but wide delivery variance curve, overlapping against a slower but precise, narrow arrival window. The refactored truth becomes obvious. Clients did not care about raw delivery speed. They valued arrival predictability. By actively stripping away vanity metrics and dismantling an unexamined dogma, the organization stopped a catastrophic misallocation of capital and rebuilt a system that actually served customers. The structural logic behind this Socratic subtraction was formally defined in the 20th century by philosopher of science Karl Popper. This logic tree illustrates Popper's falsificationism. Observing 10,000 white swans never definitively proves the rule all swans are white, but introducing one black swan instantly collapses the structure. Actively trying to disprove a hypothesis is analytically superior to gathering data to prove it right. True strategic rigor doesn't come from building thick walls of corroborating data. It comes from designing systems that actively stress test and break their foundational assumptions. When an unexamined assumption is successfully destroyed, you hit an intellectual impasse. The classical Greeks called this state aporia. We are trained to view this discomfort as a failure, a paralysis of action. In reality, aporia is the absolute prerequisite clearing of the brush required for genuine knowledge to take root. To institutionalize this classical wisdom, organizations can deploy specific tactical protocols. The first is premise deconstruction. Look at this structural engineering framework. When you plan a new initiative, you isolate the core foundational block, your primary assumption, and explicitly invert it. You ask, what if the exact opposite is true? This forces the team to identify under what parameters the inverted statement holds, revealing hidden load-bearing flaws before capital is deployed. Embracing aporia and premise deconstruction removes the ego from the equation. It transforms a conflict from a personal defeat into an objective opportunity for structural realignment. The second protocol applies Popperian falsification directly to business metrics. Instead of launching a product and then searching for data to justify its existence, leaders pre-commit to explicit failure thresholds. If the initiative hits that metric, it is conclusively refuted and abandoned. The final protocol addresses human communication, replacing dogmatic assertions with pure, humble inquiries. Instead of declaring a project schedule completely unrealistic, you ask what specific operational assumptions underpin that schedule. This exposes logical gaps without triggering interpersonal defensiveness. Together, premise deconstruction, falsification, and humble inquiry act as a modern Socratic mirror. They systematically dismantle naive realism and shield organizations from the catastrophic blindness of their own biases. In an ecosystem completely obsessed with shouting its certainties, true intellectual dominance belongs to the person brave enough to shatter their own mirror.